So sidechain compression to your delays and reverbs is a very common technique that I've seen a lot of engineers use. Reason why a lot of them may use it is because they're looking to clean up the sound. Sometimes when you have a wet signal or a delay or a reverb on the totality of the sound all the time, it kind of takes away from the articulation of perhaps the vocal, where you want a little bit of that lead vocal to shine before the reverb really just takes it over and kind of hurts you in a sense of just muddying up the mix. Same for a delay that you have a quarter note just constantly going throughout the vocal, and it's on top of the vocal from time to time. What sidechain compression allows you to do is it allows you to take that wet signal or delayed signal, say, hey, anytime you hear my lead vocal sound, I want you, the delayed signal, to duck down. But when the lead vocal is gone, I want you to pop up and shine through. This is a really, really cool technique that a lot of people have used, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can use it and how it can be advantageous to you if you decide to bring it into your workflow. Let's take a look. So right now, what we have is somewhat of a classic setup. This is my reverb aux. There's a vocal here as well. And on the delayed aux, this is a delay, excuse me, we have a compressor. I'll explain how it's set up and stuff, but let's just hear what sidechaining the actual sound sounds like. So first, let's just hear it for what it is. Pay attention to the delay. This is without the sidechain compression occurring at all. So listen to the delay on this lead vocal.
Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje el plan plan, ey. Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje el plan plan, ey.
So you can hear that sometimes there's moments where the lead vocal is going, but then the delay kind of piles on top of it and kind of ruins the diction and kind of the articulation of the actual vocal sound. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put on this sidechain compressor. Basically what this sidechain compressor is going to do is it's going to listen to the lead vocal and it's going to say, anytime I hear that lead, I am going to compress the delay, bringing down that sound as far as what it's hearing. And then when it's not there, as far as the lead, it's going to pop back forward because the compression is going to release. Take a listen to what this actually sounds like, and then I'll bypass back and forth. Let's listen to it just with the sidechain compression on. Pay attention to the relationship between the delayed signal and the actual lead vocal signal. And notice that the delay ducks every time it hears that lead vocal shine through.
Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam. Tiki pam pam, no le baje el plan plan, ey. Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje el plan plan, ey. Loco, don't get it confused.
So you hear every time you hear the actual lead vocal singing the song, you notice that the delay gets a little quieter. And then when the actual lead vocal is gone for a second, you notice that the delay pops forward. Now this is cool, really cool, because you can get really creative with the sonics of this. But ultimately what it's helping me doing is keep that lead vocal articulation intact up front and not get so muddied. And then the delay serves its purpose when there's more of a dead spot. Now you can still hear the delay all the time throughout the whole thing, but it's much quieter and a little bit more tucked in the mix. And then when it's time to shine and I want it to fill up that little hole in the mix, it then pops forward. This is kind of like a cool way to kind of create like a throw and stuff like that as well. You can do this with reverbs as well, which I'll show you in a second. But let me show you how to set this up and how to calculate, or not more or less calculate, but just how to dial this in for the most part. I'll be honest with you, Arent is my favorite compressor for this particular thing because it's so easy. And also in opto mode, it sounds smoother. I'll explain in a sec. So long story short, the way you set it up, what I did was I went to the lead vocal, which is right here. And what I'm going to do is, depending on what DAW you have, I'm going to set up a send. The send or the bus that I've decided to set up is bus 7. Nothing special here. I literally just went in my DAW, decided that bus 7 was the number or the bus that I was going to send out a copy of my vocal to whenever I wanted. So bus 7 is it. Now that I've set up bus 7, I put it to 0 at Unity. And what I do is now I go on over to the actual delay, which is this quarter note delay right here. I put on an R compressor, as you see. And what I'm going to do is, and this is specific to Pro Tools, you can find your sidechain knob in your DAW. I then went over to the R comp and I went to the bus and I typed in or clicked bus 7. So now the R comp is listening to the signal coming in from bus 7. We all know that bus 7 is pushing the lead vocal sound. So that's how that is routed. So bus 7 put on an R comp, this little sidechain key right here, I put it to bus 7, and now R comp is listening to bus 7 from my signal. Now, within it, here are some settings that I have set up. I was looking to get a decent amount of compression. I wanted it to push it down a decent amount. For instance, 3 to 5 was the number that I was just shooting for, or not even really the number I was shooting for, but what sounded cool to me, where I was like, okay, cool, I can feel it duck, and then I feel it pop up. Let's take a look at how much compression is happening on the sidechain.
Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje plan plan, ey. Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam.
So I'm doing about 6 dB of gain reduction on the actual delayed signal. So basically, when it hears my lead vocal, depending on how much amplitude is hitting the compressor, it's pushing it down 6 dB at most. So basically, the delay is dipping down 6 dB when it hears that lead vocal, pushing it under so the lead vocal has more of that prominence and presence in the whole thing. Now, the trick here to me is, and what I like to play with a lot with it is, now that I know I got this thing pretty much out of the way for the most part of the lead, I then play around with the gain. And what I decided to do with the gain is I say, you know what? Now that I've really tucked it when the lead vocal is there, I can give myself a little bit more volume on the delay when it's not interfering at all for the most part with the lead. And so I took the gain and turned it up just a little bit more so that when the delay or when the lead vocal is gone, the delay feels even stronger and even more prominent and feels like it has more of a reign to fly off the rails. Be very mindful of this. Be very careful with it. I'm just giving you an idea of how you can be creative with it as well. So for me, settings wise, I have a 2-to-1 ratio on it. Nothing in particular about that. Play with it for yourself and find what sounds best to you. Here's where it gets a little bit important. The attack and release. For me, attack and release, for those who don't know, is how quickly it attacks or compresses the signal. And the release is how quickly it releases the entire compression. For me, I wanted the attack to come onto it slightly fast because I want it to, lead vocal comes, hey, duck down. I want it to happen at a significant rate where it's getting out of the way quick enough for me. And then for the release, I kind of wanted to hold it for a little bit, this is where you see me have this medium to kind of fast release, because I want it to feel smooth when it comes back up in volume. I didn't want the actual compression as far as the delay to just tiki bang bang. I didn't want it to just jump out. I wanted to tiki bang bang, something bang. I want it to feel like that. Listen to how that sounds with this attack and release now that I said this to you. Put your ear on it.
Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje plan plan, ey. Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam.
So it just has a little bit of a smoother feel to it as far as how it ramps up in volume. And that's why I have the attack and release set that way, because it just helps me to kind of make it feel a little bit more natural in a sense with that. So the last part of this particular one with this sidechain is opto. I love it in opto. Opto feels a little bit smoother to me. And once again, it adds to that more natural sound as far as making it feel more ramped up. When I have it in electro mode, it just feels a little bit too jumpy. To each his own, but just give you an idea of why even that is something to be mindful of. Everything else is pretty much what you see here, and that's it. The last thing I'll show you is this on a reverb in particular. And what I'm going to do in this moment is I'm going to exaggerate the reverb sound that I have going to the reverb in general. So here's our reverb for this particular sound.
Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje plan plan, ey.
So obviously I've exaggerated it, right? Just to give you an idea of what it's going to sound like. So now that we've exaggerated the reverb, let's go on over to our actual reverb that it's actually feeding. Remember, I have a copy of the actual lead vocal going to bus 7, right? That never changes. I have bus 7 set up on the reverb right now. As you can see, it's listening to bus 7, so it's listening to the lead vocal. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dial in some settings. My goal is to have that big reverb sound there, but getting out of the way of the vocal when it's actually there. But when it's not there, you're gonna hear that reverb envelope and just get really huge and throw way up in volume and stuff like that. But I'm trying to get it out of the way of the lead vocal. Okay, check this out without first.
Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje plan plan, ey. Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, Tiki pam pam, no le baje plan plan, ey. Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje plan plan, ey. Tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, tiki pam pam, no le baje plan plan.
Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating this. So what I'm hearing is it's really washed out when I have it bypassed. You can hear the reverb. It's just like, listen, when I hear that vocal sound, I'm going to just basically cover this thing and smear this thing in reverb. As opposed to when I have it engaged, you notice that I get a little bit more clarity and just kind of understanding and articulation out of the vocal sound when it's compressing that reverb just a little bit to kind of allow the lead vocal to have a little bit more space before the reverb kind of grabs it and just goes. Obviously, exaggerating this, I wouldn't put that much reverb on the sound, but just to give you an idea in a large scale as far as exaggerating, like, oh, this is what it's actually doing to the sound. It's pushing that reverb down when it hears the lead vocal, and so now the lead vocal is really only getting that fully wet signal of the reverb when there's nothing there, and it kind of fills up the holes. I think this is a cool technique to try when you're just trying to fill up space in a mix, but not attack or not disrupt the actual thing that you want to lead in the mix as far as the lead vocal. This can work for anything. And also, sometimes I don't use it at all. It's a case-by-case basis, but I think it's a cool technique just to have in your pocket when sometimes you feel like you're just trying to get things out of the way without disrupting the entire thing. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please let me know. Also, make sure you comment below and just let me know, for instance, if you have any questions or if there's anything else that you wanted me to touch on within this particular topic. But I hope that was helpful. It's your boy Devon Terrell. Until next time, y'all.